Hi guys, my name is Sybil and this is Take 254. This is a non-spoiler review of The Perfect Find. The Perfect Find on Netflix is a rom-com, romantic comedy starring Gabrielle Union as the female lead, playing a character named Jenna Jones. And this movie is actually based on a book that was released back in 2016. I haven't read the book, but I hear it's a good book, and that's what this movie is based on. So this is a story about a 40-year-old woman named Jenna Jones, played by Gabrielle Union. And when we are starting out the movie, she's just out of work. She's been out of work for a year. She's moved in with her parents. And she just got out of a 10-year-long high-profile relationship. So she's down on herself, down on her luck. And to add insult to injury, her mother comes in and tells her, look, it's been a year, it's time for you to get out there. So she's gently pushing her out back into the world and kicking her out of the home. Because as the mom says, Gabrielle Union's character, Jenna Jones, being in the house is cramping her and her father's style. They can't get romantic with her around. So this forces Jenna Jones to go out there and look for work, and she ends up having to go and ask Gina Torres's character named Darcy for work in a place called Darzine, which is it's vague what this Darzine company does, but it's something to do with film and fashion. And Gabrielle Union's character is looking for a position as a creative director in Darzine. And she gets hired after, back and forth with this arch nemesis from college. And then later on, her and her friends, who are portrayed by Lala Anthony and Aisha Hines of The True Blood season 1. She was the character as the witch doctor. That's Aisha Hines. I like the two of them as Jenna Jones' best friends. So Jenna Jones and her two best friends, Billy and Elodie, go to this party. And at the party, Jenna Jones ends up seeing this young guy. They hit it off pretty fast and start making out on some, high on weed. They're both high. I'm not sure if it was both of them or just her alone. They're high on weed. They make out, and she ends up slipping and falling, having a little spill on the floor of the party, and that snaps her out of this haze, and she runs off, almost like a Cinderella moment. And lo and behold, to find out the next day at work, it turns out that the guy she was making out with and she had this chemistry with is the son of her arch nemesis, who is also her boss at Darzine. And yeah, so that's like the context of this rom-com. Overall, what did I think about this rom-com? I felt like it was trying to do a lot. Okay, so how it looked, I really liked how it looked, the cinematography. But the biggest issue I had with this rom-com was it really had a hard time setting. For you as the audience member watching this movie, you have a hard time following the sequences from scene to scene. Like when Jenna Jones, when it's starting off with Jenna Jones getting kicked out of her mom's home, that whole sequence is great. Then we just immediately cut to her being in an office talking to her arch nemesis, Darcy, who is portrayed by Gina Torres. She looked great by this whole movie. All her looks, she was like one of the best parts of the movie. Yeah, you just suddenly cut to her and Gina Torres having this conversation, this back and forth while negotiating, her position at Darzine. And you don't really have a sense of time, how long it took her to get from her parents' home to Darzine, where she's now living, where did she get the money to live on her own, which part of the country is all this drama happening in. It's not until like later in the film, like almost like 40 minutes into the film, when Jenna and her friends have a little get together and Jenna's friends are trying to set her up on a blind date, is when you hear a character portrayed by Godfrey that's the blind date that her friends Billy and Elodie had brought over for Jenna to, you know, hopefully hit it off. When he mentions that they're in Brooklyn is when you as the audience, okay, you figure out that, okay, all this is happening in Brooklyn. But up until then, this whole time, I didn't know like where these characters are, like how far Jenna Jones' house is from where she works, what characters are named, how Jenna and her friends even get to, how did this friendship, you know, begin. Like, this film lacks a lot of fluidity. It's very choppy. It's almost like scene by scene. The editors, I don't know if it's the editor's fault or the producer's fault, just didn't do a good job of tying the entire film together and giving it like a context. Just knowing like how much time has passed, how all these people relate to each other, how they know each other, just giving us, you know, a bit of context. When Jenna and her friends are interacting, it's also all of a sudden you just cut to her in her new place after she was kicked out by her parents, drinking with her friends. But you don't even get a sense of, okay, how long her and these friends have known each other. Where do they know each other from? I'm just assuming college, because her arch nemesis, Darcy, they knew each other since college. They gave an explanation and a bit of exposition for that. So yeah, that's my biggest gripe with this film. But overall, I still feel like it's worth the watch. It's on Netflix. It's well acted. It has a lot of cameos. T.S. Madison makes a cameo. She was fun. Godfrey, the comedian, he's there. He's portraying, you know, the blind date that Gabrielle Union's character is supposed to, you know, hit it off with. Remy Ma, she comes in for a bit also. Lala Anthony, she's one of Jenna Jones' best friends, playing a character named Elodie. I liked her. And then we have, Aisha Hines of True Blood. So there are a lot of cameos and familiar faces that we see throughout this film. And it also does a good job of trying to tie in, you know, a bit of history of Black old Hollywood. So that was also fun to see. And the opening and end credits of this rom-com was very nice. I really liked the cinematography and the animation and everything they tried to do with that. But yeah, overall, I feel like it's a rom-com, just a typical rom-com, enemies to lovers. The chemistry between Gabrielle Union's character and Keith Powers. So Keith Powers is playing a character known as Eric. He's the son to, you know, Jenna Jones' arch nemesis Darcy, and that's the love interest. And they have good physical chemistry, but also their whole love and how it played out, it was just, again, lacking context and very choppy from scene to scene. So it takes a lot for you as the audience to buy into their love affair. And then the fact that they work together and he's half her age and he's also the son of her arch nemesis. There's just a lot going on. But overall, I did watch it and I enjoyed it. It's not a long running movie. It's only an hour and 38 minutes, and that's including the opening and closing credits. I almost wish that it was about like 10 to 15 minutes longer, just for them to give the movie time to breathe from scene to scene and set up, you know, a bit of fluidity and context, and make this world and these people feel like they're real and they exist, and there's time and space and, you know, distance and where things are and how people are related to each other, just to give it that realism. So this film could have been really elevated with an extra 10 to 15 minutes just to add in context to everything. But yes, overall, I enjoyed it. It was an easy watch. So that's The Perfect Find on Netflix. Thank you.